I'm Steve Phillips, and I'm in my war room where I have my Civil War collection, or part of it anyway. And today I thought I might start showing parts of the collection, and I thought I might talk about my war logs that I'm fortunate enough to own. The first one I'm going to talk about is really a war limb, and it's this one here, and it doesn't have a whole artillery shell in it. It just has a back of a Schinkel, Yankee Schinkel projectile in it. It blew up and the fragment is in it. This war log here was cut down at Chickamauga battlefield by one of the Yankee veterans from Pennsylvania. Let's see if I can focus on this. This is the tag that came with it when I got it. It was found by Mr. Emmy, and it ended up in a GAR post up north, which most of these ended up there, and then they ended up getting sold after the veterans all died off. But this one has a 12-pounder or fragment from a 12-pounder, and it's got a big grape. It's a little too big to be a canister, and down here it's got a 3-inch Hotchkiss base. I don't think it's whole. This log is not real thick, so I'm not certain whether it's whole or not. It's never been x-rayed, so I don't know there. But the soldiers, most war logs come from Chickamauga that I've ever seen, and it was the first national battlefield park, Civil War, and the soldiers went back and cut them down and carried them to their veterans posts up north. After that, several of my war logs ended up belonging to my friend Tom Dickey. This was Tom Dickey, and he was the greatest relic hunter I ever knew. He was my mentor. He passed away in the early 80s, and I ended up with a large part of his collection, and most of my war logs came from him. I think I have more war logs than probably any person or any museum, and I'm pretty sure I got the best two, which we hadn't got to those yet. This war log appears to be in pine, and notice all the bark is gone on it. By the way, anybody that's ever interested in buying something in wood, be careful, because if it doesn't have bark on it and you can see that it was there a long time, like if it's a piece of wood that's looks like raw wood where they cut it open, it's probably not original, and you should stay away from that stuff. But a lot of the war logs, when I got them, the bark was falling off or about to fall off, so I preserved them by putting a wood hardener on them, and so now the bark looks the same as when I got them. This one has a Confederate 3-inch Archer bolt missing the sabot. Of course, almost all of those through the sabot. But you can see it in there, and you can see it's been there. It's always been there. And the one next to it is from the Chattanooga area, is what the plaque on it said. And at one time it was in a museum on the top of Lookout Mountain, but Tom Dickey ended up getting these, and then they ended up with me. I've got one or two more war logs that I don't have here at the house, and I have one down at Tannehill State Museum that's on loan to them, and that's got a looks like a Yankee parrot in it that's chipped and had a few fragments come off of it. I think both those war logs just have one projectile in them. And then next to it is the big boy. It was part of the Brooks collection back in the late 1800s. It even has the tag on it, which identifies it as part of the Brooks collection. I don't know if you can read it. But a lot of pieces from the Brooks collection have little tags like that on it. And this one, I think, is 7 foot tall, and I've counted 7 different projectiles in it. Can't see them too good right here. But there's a 12-pounder right there. And as we come down the log, let's see, there's a Burton or a Dyer. Now they're calling them Dyers. When we started, or when I started back 40 years ago, we called them Burtons. But it's blown the Sabbath, and it's in there. And then I don't think you can make it out, but there's another 12-pounder over there. And over on this side is several canister balls. Can't make them out too good. Need more light. But I think there's at least 7 projectiles. It really needs x-raying, but that's no small chore. But that wood, that bark is holding up on there real well because of the wood hardener. 7 foot tall. There were some others that were about that size, but people cut them into pieces. I wish they'd never done that, because I just like it the way it was. Imagine being on the battlefield with that much fire around you. And my best war log, in my opinion, is this one. This hung in the center of Tom's war room, and it was the centerpiece of the collection, and so it hangs in mine too. And in it has many fragments and several projectiles. Right there is a 3-inch Confederate reed. You can tell by that dimple in the middle there, the laying dimple. And fragments are all over the place. I took a little pin pointer and went around and found 12, but there may be more. It needs x-raying too, and this side is so dark, I don't know if we can get a picture of anything. Right there, which won't focus, is a 3-inch Yankee Parrot projectile. Needs more light here, but there's fragments all over. And this one is also from Chickamauga, and it was in the GAR post, and then at Tom's, and it ended up with me. The war logs have always been most everybody's favorite because it just shows the intensity of the war at times and places, and there's no way anyone could live if they were anywhere near this kind of action. And I don't know, there's just something about the war logs that's really special. And there's no more of them except for the ones that are in collections now. There won't anybody be cutting down any more of these. Thanks for watching my war log video. And if you guys like them and want me to, I'll try to keep making a few more videos on items in the collection and help identify things for people, although I admit to being extremely lazy and won't get out and do it now. I think I dug too many cannonballs and it made me tired. I did dig 600 over the years. Talk to you later.